Hello and welcome to Ginny's Gin Livestream. I'm Ginny, and along with my husband Rob and our dearest friends Amy and Jeff Close, we founded Ginny's Gin a few years back. We've been doing this now for quite some time. We keep on rolling. We're in the middle of summer right now, and as you know, those of you that have tuned in before, we love using seasonal ingredients. And we actually love it even more when our friends bring us some of their fruits from the garden. And so I have lots of thank yous today because I have these wonderful fresh peaches from the garden of Ginny and Michael Savage. Thank you for these. And they're little, but they're absolutely packed with sweetness and flavor, so they're really good. And what I've done with this particular cocktail is I roasted them in the oven, and that even brings even more flavor out as well. And then the other thank you I have, I'm going to make the cocktail first, but then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a shrub for the next week's live stream. And thank you to Karen and Lou Gilpin for the shrub book, which I think I showed you guys last week. It's really fabulous, and all of these post-it notes here, these are all gin cocktails that we can make with the different shrubs. So there's plenty of different live streams that we can do using this book. So thank you so much for this. And as I say, once I've made the cocktail, I will then make the shrub that I'm going to make for the following week's cocktail. Okay? All right, so I'm going to put that away for a second.
One in the hand source, two in the shrub.
There you go, exactly. So I am making a roasted peach gin fizz today. And we're going to start out, where we always start, with... I'm actually going to do 4 ounces of Ginny's gin because I made quite a bit of the peach, what would you call that? I put it in the blender, so it's a blended peach puree. There we go. So I'm going to use my mason jar, and I'm going to start with the gin. In this case, I'm using estregin, and the website's ready. We're going to go live next week, so that's going to be fun. I will tell you more about that next week. All right, so 4 ounces of estrogen.
4?
Yeah. That's what the recipe calls for because I made quite a large batch of the peach puree. And we actually have our son home from college, from Boulder. And so I'm sure he'll join me in the other cocktail. Right? Okay, so
He's driving my truck.
there's the gin. Oh, well, later then. There we go. Okay, there's the gin. And I'm going to take the lemon and I'm going to cut off the ends, cut it in half, and squeeze that. Ooh, there it is. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to do an ounce of lemon juice. There's my thing. Here we go. Okay, ounce of lemon juice. Let's see if I can get an ounce out of this half a lemon. Not quite. It's not as juicy as some of them. Citrus is a little tough during the summer here. Let's do the next one. Let's see. There we go. All right, now we've got an ounce. Perfect. You're going to need this, aren't you? Okay, let's pop that over here. Voila. Okay. Ounce of lemon juice. And then a little bit of simple syrup. And it really depends on how sweet and lovely your peaches are. You know, as with everything, your cocktail is only as good as the ingredients that you put in there, whether that's the lemons or the peach or... Yeah, right? I mean, same with cooking, right? It's only as good as your ingredients. So I think I'm going to do an ounce of the simple syrup, and you can do that to taste, obviously, if you needed it to be sweeter or more tart, up to you and your taste, obviously. And then here is the lovely puree of the roasted peach. So what I did is I took a couple of peaches. In this case, I actually took, I think, 4 of Ginny and Michael's peaches because they were quite small. And I cut them in half and I put them on a baking sheet and I roasted them for 15 to 20 minutes. And then I actually peeled them. You don't have to peel them, it's up to you. And then I just pureed them. I think I used the immersion blender. You could put them in a blender if you wanted. And obviously you can scale it up if you're entertaining a crowd, then you can scale it up depending on how many people you're going to be entertaining. So here's my peach puree. This is going to be a nice colour, isn't it? And very, very summery, lovely peachy colour. There we go. Voila. And then all we're going to do now is add ice and shake it all up. Pop that in here. That's enough. And as we've said before, keep all your shakers and your glasses in the freezer so that everything stays cold much longer, preserves the coldness of the cocktail, obviously. So, shake it up. Great colour. This basically is a roasted peach gin fizz. It's really sort of a Tom Collins because I'm going to add club soda to it. So, I think that looks pretty good. There we go. And now I'm going to add ice to the Tom Collins glass. It doesn't have to be a Tom Collins, you know, any nice looking glass. With tall sides is nice because it's good when you have fizz in there. But whatever you have at home, it's all good. You don't have to, you know, worry about it being perfect, right? Well, if you're Rob, you do. We all know about that. So you can pour this, strain it into there, and then add the club soda. But if you put the club soda in at the beginning, then it all gets incorporated easily. So there it is. Great colour. Ooh, look at that. Oh, awesome. Let's do a little peach garnish like this. And we have some great basil right now. There's so much basil that Rob had planted, so I think we should do that too. So how about, and that's a nice combination, basil with peach. And I think I'm going to go through here. Look at this. Voila, there is the roasted peach gin fizz. There it is. Okay, and now I'm going to tell you about the shrub. So, as I mentioned, Karen and Lou gave us this shrub book, and this one is I mean, there's so many in here, and I can just keep going for days, obviously. It's the cantaloupe and mint shrub, and obviously melons are in season right now. As you know, we love using seasonal ingredients, so that's why I chose the melon. So I will show you how to make the shrub, and then, you know, after that we'll do, you know, in a week or two, we'll do the actual cocktail using the shrub. So I've taken I think it's 1.5 pounds of cantaloupe, and I've just cut it up into chunks. So I've peeled it, cut it into chunks, and what I'm going to do now is I am going to add, this is raw sugar, and so the thing about shrubs, I know I've done shrubs before, and for those that that haven't seen that, a shrub is like a colonial era, very refreshing drink, and it's basically some kind of fruit, and then 1 part sugar and 1 part vinegar. So you can choose what kind of vinegar you use depending on the fruit that you're using. So cantaloupe is sort of a fairly mild flavour, so I just used white wine vinegar. You could do champagne vinegar as well if you like. So in this case, it's white wine vinegar. So yeah, 1 part vinegar, whatever that one is, and 1 part sugar. And then you extract, obviously, the flavours of the fruit. And once you have the shrub, and then the shrub actually comes from the Arabic word sharab, which means to drink. And I think starting in like the 19th century, they started adding booze to their shrubs. It was really just a sort of daytime refreshing drink that they would have, and then they were like, oh, why don't we add some booze to this and make it a bit more interesting? So I'm going to take 3/4 of a cup of the raw sugar, and I'm going to sprinkle it over here and mix it up. I'm going to grab a spoon. There we go. And we're going to leave this for a couple of hours. And what will happen is the sugar will extract the flavors from the melon, and it'll produce this wonderful syrupy, melon syrupy loveliness. All right, so that's what you do, and then just leave that for a couple of hours while it extracts. I think you could probably actually even leave it overnight, but I'll check that out. But so that's the extraction. So we're going to do that. That happens first, and then meanwhile we're going to take 3/4 of a cup of the vinegar, the white wine vinegar. So 3/4 cups of sugar. So there's the mint, and I'm just trying to think, what did I do? Yeah, that's about half an ounce. You can see how much I use, but it's about half an ounce of the mint. And when you bruise it, you can really smell the flavors. You know that that's really gonna be fabulous. So we're gonna add the mint to the vinegar. So I'm gonna do that. So while that's doing its thing, we've got this going on. You just wash this. There we go. Let's pop that down in there. So it's all covered by the vinegar. Voila. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to do in 2 hours is I'm going to strain the solids. What I want is the syrupy part. Get rid of the solids, and then the syrup is what I'm going to add into the vinegar and the mint. And this is going to last for about a week. But you can taste it and see. You want to taste it to see how much mint you want to extract. At that point, when you're happy with the mintiness flavor of it, then you're going to just strain out the mint, and there's your shrub. The shrub will last for a long time, unless you're like us and you use it in your cocktails and you drink it rather quickly. But they'll last in the fridge for a long time. All right, so that's how you make a shrub. And I think the beauty of shrubs really is the fact that you take a seasonal fruit and, and then you preserve it, and you can use it, months later if you want to, and just sort of remind yourself of, when the peaches were in season, or the melons were in season, or you really can use anything. But it's good. Check it out. It's kind of fun. So we'll use the mint cantaloupe shrub in a couple of weeks. Okay, so there we go. And then Rob has a very cool cocktail that he is going to show us, and he's going to tell us where that comes from. All right, guys, see you in a bit. Thank you, Rob. Take it away.
Grab my glass.
You need that.
Okay, I got my chilled glass, and I've actually got clear ice in there that I cracked just now.
You had him crack.
I did not crack the glass this time. And I've got a bottle of local apple cider that's fermented pet nat style, so it has a crown cap. So basically, my friends Chris and Dana grew some really cool apples, and then and my friend Mike, who's kind of like a really great product guy at one of the wine suppliers, material suppliers here in Sonoma County. And what he did was he fermented the cider, and then when it's down to 2.4 grams of residual sugar, then he put it in the bottle and capped it. And then the fermentation finishes in the bottle, creating the effervescence, making it sparkling cider. So I thought it would really be fun. They gave me some a week ago, and it would be really fun to make a drink using our local apple cider. So what I'm going to do is make like a Tom Collins base, lemon simple syrup, and I'm going to do a little thyme and some ginger in there, because ginger and apple goes great together. So the first step would be to take our little guy there, and what I'm going to do is the fastest way to get a little bit of ginger juice without like having to clean a juicer and everything would just take a microplane. I peeled back a little bit of ginger here, and just gonna grate some into my strainer, and then when you squeeze it, then the juice kind of comes out. Yeah, you can see it going in there now. It's taking a little bit of time, but it's worth it. I mean, I could have done this in advance, but it's a really cool way. You can see the ginger's kind of stuck on there. You just kind of tap it in. And then we've got a little spoon here so we can just kind of like squeeze out the juice down into the, oh yeah, nice and strong. Then we're gonna take one of our 2 sprigs of thyme and we're just gonna strip off all the leaves. We're just gonna get it down into the cup and the ice will bruise it as it shakes. And I do need a couple of ice cubes, like a handful of ice cubes, Mom. And then now we're gonna take our
Big or small?
2 ounces of gin, one big and 2 small. 2 ounces of Ginny's gin. Yep. And we're gonna go 1/2 ounce of some fabulous simple syrup. And that's in there. And then I've got our lemon right here. And even though we have quite a bright cider, we're gonna boost this up to a full ounce, which, just like Ginny, I didn't quite get there. I almost got there with a 1/2 a lemon. Look at that, now I'm at an ounce. So, and then we're gonna slide that in there. And we're just gonna take a little tiny pinch of salt. And yeah, I think everything's kind of, yummo, everything's in the pool. Matter of fact, I'm even gonna put the ginger back and let that shake up with it in there.
Okay.
And yeah, it's pretty much ready. What's cool about these what's cool and what's not cool. What's not cool about them, but I don't mind, is a little bit of sediment on the bottom from the part of the fermentation that occurred in bottle. And so when people drink these, some people shake them up so that the sediment is mixed throughout all of it evenly and then drink it. And Jenny's tried that, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Or you could pour really carefully, leaving the sediment on the bottom. And one of the ways to help that is to put it in an ice bucket for a 1/2 hour. And it helps to compact the lees or the sediment in the bottom so that you can pour it off easier. So those are the little tricks. We'll go ahead and pull the crown cap off. And instead of putting it on the top where it just doesn't mix very well, I like to put my sparkling in the bottom and just kind of guessing about 1.5 ounces or 2, like that. And then we'll take our mixed cocktail. And we got another strainer ready. And the Hawthorne strainer was right here a second ago. It's okay, I can do without it. Boy.
Delicious.
Yeah. It's kind of it's a lemon thyme Sonoma cider, a cider 75, right? Mm-hmm. And just for garnish, I mean, we can reinforce the thyme. And then I've got, just because I think it looks really cool, a nice little dried blood orange wheel. And then, why not? A cute little flower, since we have them in the garden again. And look at that one, it's variegated. So, you know what? I don't even need, it's really beautiful
as is, yeah.
Without the flower. And
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. So there's our cider 75.
Awesome.
Along with Ginny's.
I actually call it a Sonoma 75, right? Because the apples came from Sonoma.
Sure.
Yeah, it's called a Sonoma 75.
But it's just an apple rather than sparkling wine. It's sparkling cider.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
So actually, our next live stream will be a couple of weeks from now because we're heading out with our boys to go whitewater rafting on the Tuolumne with a bunch of other families, actually families that have known our kids since kindergarten, so it's kind of cool. So what they do with the kids, they get their own boat, and then the parents get we get our own boats, and so it's really fun. It's competitive, and we sleep on the river, on the beach along the river, and we don't have our phones for like 3 days. So I'm super excited about that. So without a phone, I won't be able to do the live stream, but we'll be back the following week, and let's have a little taste here.
I'm adjusting my drink.
How did you?
Well, I mean, there really is a lot of acidity from between the lemon and then also the cider. So I just give it just a little tiny bit more simple syrup to kind of balance it out.
Okay.
And it's more of a Ginny style drink than a rub drink. It's pretty tart, but yeah, the ginger really shines through. It tastes good.
I love ginger and anything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So healthy too.
Cheers.
Cheers, honey. Cheers to summer. This is actually very summery, isn't it? Great. Okay, guys. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Cheers.
And the amount of ginger from that small amount I grated, it's quite intense. It's not a minor amount.
Good peaches,
It's really
Ginny and Michael. Thank you.
Yep. Cheers, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yum.